Okay, hello and welcome to this video lecture on our project Sathi. I am Dr. Animesh and I am helping you all with criminal law. And obviously, in the continuation of our discussion on criminal law, today we are going to discuss stages of crime. Now, stages of crime, obviously, one can think that crime happens when it happens. What are the stages? How you can differentiate different steps of a crime. So, see, happening of a crime is final stage, but there are steps before that as well. That is something that we learn today, and I welcome you all again. Okay, let's begin. Yes, so there is a journey of a crime. So crime has a journey. Means crime begins, and then crime eventually culminates through a series of actions to an ultimate event. There is an ultimate occurrence. The first step of crime is intention. Now, intention hereby means mental element. The crime begins in the mind of a person. A person always before committing a crime thinks about the crime. There can never be a situation where you will be bilkul unmindful you have committed a crime. For a act being a crime, some kind of element of intent is required, and that intent is formed first, and then the crime is committed. Suppose I accidentally kill someone. Accidentally the person has been killed, then I go and see who has been killed. Then I see that the person whom I have killed is my enemy, and I think, oh, good riddance, well and good, he has died, it is good. So question is whether I will have criminal liability or not. The answer is no. Why so? Because the crime was not, intention has to proceed, or intention has to be at the time of doing that act. So intention is the beginning of the crime. Now we discussed, no, mind is the thief, and the mind thinks, and then ultimately our body acts. The mind is the primary thing. I'll take 5 minutes of your time, and if you are not in the mood of learning a particular story, I have anecdote, a story to share with you all. But if you don't like it, can skip up to 5 minutes, then we'll discuss it again. Okay. So the story is by Sri Ram Krishna Paramhans. Ram Krishna Paramhans ji is he was the guru of Swami Vivekananda, one of the favored son of Bharat Mata. And Swami Ram Krishna Paramhans ji is a great, great sage, saint, philosopher. So one of a story he notes, he says that there was a particular person who was um, actually a gardener. He had a very beautiful garden. He used to take care of that garden. But sometimes some animals, a goat, a cow, some monkeys, they used to come to the garden and they used to actually desecrate a bit, not desecrate as such, but destroy some garden, pattiya charli or mere todi and all those things. They used to actually destroy the garden to a bit and disturb the garden. And that particular, he was an old person, so obviously he was not as quick as to stop them from actually disrupting the garden or destroying the garden. So he was many a times he was very angry that why these people are these goats, these monkeys, cows, animals, nilgai, they are coming and they're actually harming my garden. So he was very angry about it. So one day what happens, um, he was very angry because of that, and even when he was asleep, he suddenly heard some movement. So he went to the garden and he saw that the cow was actually was eating the leaves of the garden, and was she that cow was actually eating the plants and the flowers and everything. He was like very angry. He became extremely angry. He took his stick and started beating the cow. The cow was taken aback. It was all very sudden, and he gave multiple blows to the cow. Yes, you have been desecrating you have been destroying my garden. The goats they ran away, the monkeys they ran away, everyone ran away, but you, because of you, this happens, and he keeps on beating the cow. Suddenly he realizes the cow is not moving, and when he checks, he sees cow is dead. killing cow is a huge sin for anybody who is of an Indian faith, who follows one of the Indian faith. For that person, killing a cow is a very serious crime. It's a huge sin. Okay. Now he realizes he has committed a huge sin. So what he does, that he simply he actually moved the cow behind some bushes and covered that cow, and he was like very depressed and all. Suddenly he thought, he had this idea that actually it is written in the Shastras that the hands of the person, they work by the grace of Indra. Indra uh, is the head of all the demigods. All the devatas are headed by Indra, the god of rain and thunder. So it is in Shastra written that the power of our hands is supplied by Indra. So he thinks, okay, so obviously my hand was beating the cow, but the energy of that hand, or the strength of that hand, came from Indra. So actually, I have not killed the cow, it is the Indra who has killed the cow. So he thought that, and he felt very relieved. He said, okay, yes, I have done what I wanted to do. But I am very happy because ultimately this sin is not of mine, it actually cow has been killed by Indra. So Indra, in his celestial abode, comes to know of this fact that okay, somebody has thought that, somebody has in his mind tried to uh, simply implicate me for a sin, and that too a huge sin. Killing a cow is not a small matter. So Indra, what he did, he transformed himself into an old man, and he started coming towards that garden. Now this gardener was there already. Indra came and he smilingly said, "Oh, such a beautiful garden! This is many beautiful trees, plants, and flowers. Exceptional work." He asked, "Who has done this all?" Right. I have done this. I actually, it took a lot of effort. I have picked the flowers and plants, and I have watered them daily, and I have trimmed them, and then everything I have done. It's a tough job. Okay. So who has planted these flowers? Well, I have. Well, okay. Very good, very good. Who has done all this beautification? He said, I am the person who is in charge of this garden, and this garden, everything that has been done by this in this garden is because of me. So Indra suddenly moved towards the bushes in which that dead body of that cow was there. And suddenly he goes there and he starts unraveling. He moves those bushes and see there is a dead cow. Hey Ram, who has killed this cow? Now the gardener says, actually it is the Indra who has killed this cow. Indra became very angry. He came in his original form and said, "You guys, you fine. Just now I asked you that who actually made this garden. So you said, if I had made this garden, I created, nurtured this garden by my own two hands. And when it comes to killing the cow, you are saying Indra has killed the cow. Say, whatever you have done, you have thought. And if you have thought, it is not the hands of the person who commits a crime, but rather it is the mind who commits the crime. If you have thought a crime, it means that you are a criminal. You cannot blame that, okay, I was taken aback, my hands, they worked automatically. No, nothing. Our whole body is slave to our mind. So if you thought the crime, you hit the cow intentionally, then the sin of killing cows is yours alone. Obviously, the intent is the most important thing, that is the beginning of the journey of the crime. That is the point that I was trying to make. All of this is available on in the Ramakrishna Mission website. You can read the story there. Okay. I'm so sorry for being so dramatic on all this, but nonetheless, this is one of my favorite stories about consequences. We all have to face the consequences that we have to do, acknowledge what we have done. Second, once you have formulated the crime in your mind, then comes the second stage, that is preparation. A crime that requires some kind of preparation. Now, preparation can range from anything to the things that are harmless. Suppose I want to murder someone and I buy a knife. Now I buy a knife, I buy poison, I get a gun, whatever the case may be. Whatever preparation I do for committing a crime, suppose I want to commit theft. So I take a ski mask, that monkey cap I buy, or I buy some tools that will help me actually break a lock, or I take the that chloroform. I take that, you must have seen the movies. People use chloroform to actually um, eh, hallucinate, that to actually get the people unconscious. All those things I have bought. It is all preparation. Anything that you have done in order to ready yourself for the crime is called preparation, as the name suggests. Third is attempt. Attempt is means you have already done something towards the commission of the act, something that is very close to commission of that. You have attempted means you have done something towards the commission. Now, once you have done something for the commission, it is possible that you might be successful and you might be unsuccessful. If you are successful, it becomes commission. That is the fourth stage. Crime is completed. But if what you have done is unsuccessful in getting of the desired result, then your act stops at the stage of attempt. Now, attempt is always punishable. Now, why these four stages are very important? Intention is always not punished. Preparation is punished in some cases. In rest of the cases, it is not. Attempt is punishable in all the cases. And commission, obviously, if the crime has been committed, it is punishable. So, one, it is always innocent, means there is no liability for having intent alone. Preparation, in some of the cases, the preparation can be considered a crime, but in rest of the cases, it is not. Attempt is always criminal. If you have attempted, it means you will be held liable, and commission, you will always be held liable. The difference between commission and attempt is that the punishment for attempt is lesser, and if the crime is actually committed, the punishment will be higher. Generally, for attempt, the punishment is half of what it will be in the case of an actual crime. If the desired consequence would have happened, whatever the punishment would have been, half of it will be given in the case of attempt. जैसे अगर 10 साल की सजा होती है अगर कुछ क्राइम हो जाने पे, और आप विफल हो गए अपने प्रयास में, तो आपको 5 साल की सजा होगी. That is something that we have to understand. Okay, so intention, preparation, attempt, and commission. Moving on. First, just like I stated, intention alone is not a crime. It is very simple. Even if you tell somebody your intent, even if there is a tangible evidence of what you intended, of what you wanted to do. Suppose I tell someone that I want to rob a bank and I want to kill someone. I will do this, I will do that. That is not sufficient for imposing criminal liability. There is a first is very simple, difficult to know and difficult to prove what somebody is thinking is very, very difficult to actually prove or know. The mental privacy is the highest form of privacy. What I am thinking, obviously nobody is knowing. If everybody will start to know, like in that movie PK, you can simply hold the hand of someone and you will get to know what is going inside the brain. We cannot have that in our world. That will be very dangerous. Everybody will kill everyone if they'll know what they are thinking. Obviously, we think a lot of things, and those things are sometimes distasteful. That is why intent alone, we leave it alone. Just for the purpose of intention, we do not punish anyone. And obviously, proving it is also very difficult. Even if it is proved what I was thinking, I have been administered a lie detection test or a brain mapping, narco analysis, something like that happens. But um, it is proved what I thought. But thinking alone, whether it should be a crime, answer is no. It is general policy that if you think a crime, it is absolutely not wrongful, not punishable, because what you think is between you and the God. Nobody else is harmed or nobody else is bothered by what you are thinking. That is why it is not punishable. Even it is published or known. Suppose I wrote a diary, and in diary I write that I want to commit this offense, I want to commit this offense. Still, if that diary goes to the court, whether it will be considered an offense, answer is no. Until and unless I incite someone, till that time, my intent alone is absolutely not relevant. Incite someone means I encourage someone else to commit that crime. If I encourage, I say, if I want to rob a bank, you must also come with me. Now, this has become a crime because I have incited someone. But till I tell everybody, even if on this video, I say I want to rob a bank or I want to do this, I want to do that, absolutely not a crime. No problem. if I don't have intent to incite or abet anybody, and I simply am telling you that I want to commit this crime, I want to commit this crime, it is completely considered not not a problem. It is absolutely fine. It's not a criminal act. Now, second, preparation. Generally, preparation is not a crime. Generally, why I'm saying generally it is not a crime, because preparation more often than not is an innocent act having a bona fide explanation. For example, see, everything in this world has a dual purpose. ना एक what we say विज्ञान and humans, एक हाथ में सृजन और एक हाथ में प्रलय. Destruction and creation are the two facets of same coin. So if I bought a knife from the market, that is preparation. I can use that knife for killing someone. At the same time, there is an innocent explanation that knife can be used for constructive purposes as well. I can cut vegetables with it, no issues. If I buy poison, all poisons have some positive kind of use as well. It can be used for chemical, in a chemical reactions. It can be used to regulate the number of insects or mice that you have in your house. A number of use. Poison has a number of uses. If I have a gun, it can be used for self-defense purpose, which is a noble purpose. There is no problem. In most of the cases, whatever you will attempt, if I have a ski mask, I might actually be going skiing. If I have a monkey cap, I might feel cold. Everything has a, if I have a tool by which a lock can be broken, I might be breaking my own house's lock because I keep on forgetting the keys. Some of you must have this problem. Keep forgetting the keys of your room in your house. That is a huge problem. And that is, some people are forgetful about those things. So generally, whatever the attempts, in most of the cases, crimes when they are committed, it will have some preparation which for which there is a possibility of an innocent explanation. Innocent explanation means it is possible that what you were doing is not a huge uh, indicator of whether we're doing a crime or not, whether you intended to do a crime or not. Preparation itself is not a crime except in these three cases. First is offenses against the state. Offenses against the state, yani Bharat, is obviously is a very heinous crime. It's a very serious crime. And preparation of doing offense against Bharat is also very serious crime. And why preparation is not an offense in case of murder and why it is punishable here? There are two reasons, very simple two reasons. First, the preparation for committing an offense against the state, the acts that are done in order to prepare for this offense will be such, the nature of those actions will be such that you can easily see what is the intent behind that preparation. अब भारत के अगेंस्ट आपको अगर युद्ध छेड़ना है तो आप कैसे छेड़ेंगे? युद्ध छेड़ने के लिए क्या करना पड़ता है? You will have to have motivated people, men, and you will have to have material. And the materials that you will have will not have innocent explanation. Like suppose I have 100 people armed. I have 100 people, 200 people who are dedicated towards committing violence and they are having arms. Suppose they are not having arms and they want to do anything, then that becomes their right to peaceful protest or right to association without arms. When you are trying to have waging war against Bharat, you cannot do that arms. Even if somebody Bharat, India down, but without arms, we generally are not very concerned about that. You do whatever you want to do if without men and material. If you are alone, that's not a huge problem with us. In offenses against the state, your activities, your preparations will clearly indicate what you want to do. It will not have an innocent explanation. This provision is mostly used in the case of Naxals. These Naxals, Maoists, when they actually try to brainwash the poor and tribal population of India, they gather them and they tell them, see, Mao said this, Lenin said this, and these foreigners. our ideological fathers have done this, they destroy everything, and the government is doing this against you. That they tell a number of lies, and they obviously they are slave bootlickers of China. So Chinese weapon they have, and they have a population by which they actually brainwash using many of the objectionable Naxali Sahitya, what we call Naxal literature. So if the police catches a large number of people with arms having Naxal literature, so obviously there is no innocent explanation of it. That is why the preparation of such an offense is a crime. Same goes with and second logic why preparation of it is an offense is because this gravity of this offense is such that you cannot wait till they actually commit that crime, because once they become strong enough, the consequence or the cost the Bharat will have to pay will be extremely heavy. That is why we catch them when they are actually doing the preparation itself. Same goes with second, a preparation of committing a dakaiti. If some mini dakaiti requires at least 5 people, you cannot commit dakaiti alone. Okay, so dakaiti requires again 5 or more people you require. Then you require in order to commit dakaiti, there has to be a robbery. Robbery means you have to use force. So if few people or multiple people are there who have such weapons and they are trying to hide themselves, in those cases it can be considered as they are committing or preparation of committing a dakaiti. If 5 people sitting in Pizza Hut, they will not be caught for this offense. Only when they are trying to hide themselves or they are trying to prepare themselves, their preparation will be as of such a nature that it will be very clear that what they are trying to do. There will be no innocent explanation of what they are doing. I believe many of you are a fan of a particular series called Money Heist. If you have not seen it, it is about few people who are trying to rob banks and government. There are group of dacoits. So obviously, when you will observe them, you will find things that are having no innocent explanation. That is why preparation of committing a dacoity is an offense. Secondly, dacoity was a huge problem. It is now not a huge problem now, but 50 years back, 60 years back, it was a huge problem for the law enforcement agency in India. The dacoits used to have huge, large gangs, 50 people, 100 people gang, and they had horses and they attacked immediately on a village and they killed and looted and everything. That used to happen very frequently. And they used to commit crime in one state and then rush to another state so that the police will not be able to pursue them. And even if suppose police, a thana, a chowki will try to resist, generally the strength of a thana is of 10, 12, 15, at least at that time it was, strength was very less. So even if 15 policemen are there and there are 100 dacoits, what do you expect them to do? So they'll not do anything. So catching dacoits while they're committing dacoity is next to impossible, and they cover their face. It is very difficult to actually convict them. But you can catch them when they are hiding. You can actually trap them and you can encircle them. That is why we established CRPF. Generally, CRPF was established to tackle this problem of dacoits only. CRPF was central police which had no jurisdictional boundary, so they can travel into any state to actually encircle and trap the dacoits and kill them where they are hiding. You can kill them in their hole, not when they attack suddenly at a particular place. So that is why if you caught 100 people, you cannot prove who actually committed dacoity and who didn't commit dacoity. But you can actually convict them on the charge of preparation of committing a dacoity if they had men and they had material, which you can use to commit dacoity. That will not be an instant explanation. Why 10, 15, 20 people will be hiding at a particular place, having the police or army worthy, and why you have weapons? There is no innocent explanation of that. That is why preparation of committing a dacoity is also an offense. Third comes counterfeiting currency, stamps, or coin. Again, the things that are required for the preparation of this particular offense will not have any innocent explanation, because the stamps, the currencies of the coins of Bharat, when they are prepared, when they are made, they are obviously they are used, they are made in such a way that it cannot be easily copied. You cannot use your printer and your A4 size paper to print a currency note or a stamp. It will be very difficult. It is impossible. Nobody will buy it. So it is very difficult. So that is why you will have to have specific printers. You will have to have specific paper in order to copy the Indian currency. There was a very interesting web series of Shahid Kapoorji, Farzi. If you have seen it, good. If you have not, then first clear CLAT and then you can see whatever you want. But there is still time in the next year's examination, so you can watch that. Okay, so counterfeiting currency takes a very huge preparation, because you'll have to get the hold of the paper that can be used for printing fake currency. In order to counterfeit coin, you will have to have specific machinery, which are generally not sold in that way. The ink is very special. The material that is used to mint coin is very special. The way it is, that is why the government has a lot of uh, sorry, the government has placed a lot of safeguards for for the purpose of protecting the currency and stamps and coins from counterfeiting. If you have material, if you have made preparation for acquiring the ink, the paper, and everything, it will have no innocent explanation. What is the explanation behind having a paper which is exclusively used for printing of uh, currency notes? You will be punished. And secondly, we cannot wait till an attempt is made. Once you have printed currency notes and you will just simply throw it in the road, it will do extreme damage to our economy. That is why counterfeiting currency is something that we take very seriously, and that is it is next to economic terrorism. That is why we trap the people when they are only preparing. You start contacting the paper manufacturer for procuring a paper which can be used to print currency, and the CBI will track you. The police will track you immediately. Vigilance and everyone will be alerted. That is why this is a very serious matter. You know? And offenses against the state also means terrorism and all these activities. They are all considered offenses against state. So if somebody is doing something that is potentially a terrorist act, in that case also preparation. If somebody is trying to make a bomb or something, immediately while you are preparing, the police will come and ask you what's the point of making a bomb. Well, sir, I have not planted the bomb anywhere. Code will soon. You have prepared, and there is no innocent explanation to it, and you have committed offenses. You have preparation. You have made preparation to commit an offense against state. So punishment will be there. So in rest of the cases, except these three cases, preparation of any of the other offences under BNS is not a offence. In some other narcotics and all, some cases preparation is an offence, but in Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, in these three offences, preparation is an offence. In the rest of the cases, the preparation itself is not an offence. Okay, then we come to attempt. Now, attempt, when preparation ends and attempts begin, because preparation is generally not punishable, while attempt is in all cases punishable. So when will we say that a person has um, they have done preparation, and when we will say that the person has attempted the crime? There is a very thin line of difference between preparation and attempt. Okay, and that is why we have these three principles. There is something called doctrine of locus potentiate, then we have proximity rule, and then we have equivocal test. See, I told you why preparation is not a crime in most of the cases, because it generally have innocent explanation. The first principle of locus potentiate gives a very interesting viewpoint. It says that when a person is preparing for a crime, there is always a possibility that he may not or she may not go through with it, and better sense prevails. Meaning thereby There can be a possibility when the person he has prepared for committing a crime, but they might get cold feet. Like suppose somebody has written a suicide note and they go towards commission of suicide, but at the last moment before the train is coming, they walk back. Right? People go to the top floor and they see down. They went to the top floor with an intent of jumping from the top floor, but they say how uh, deep, how what's the depth of that particular lunge, and they simply step back. उस 1 मिनट पहले वो हट जाते हैं. Sometimes people will just they prepare for committing a murder, but then because of the inherent goodness of their nature or something like that, there is a change of heart. So this locus potentiatis actually means change of heart. When there is a possibility of change of heart or going back from your preparation, in that case we will say it is merely a preparation and not an attempt. Till the matter is completely in your hand, till you have actually, suppose I have bought a gun and I was going to kill someone, till I point my gun and fire, pull the trigger, there is always a possibility that I might not go through with it. There is a possibility that I might fear, or out of fear, or out of simply my conscience can come in between me and my criminal designs. Happens. आपका मन बदल जाए, आप डर जाए, आपका विचार अंतरात्मा आपको कहे कि नहीं क्राइम करना है. दैट इज कॉल्ड अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन प्रिपरेशन अटेम्प्ट. अटेम्प्ट मतलब आपने चीज को अपने हाथ के बाहर कर लिया. आपने अगर ट्रिगर पुल कर दिया तो उसका मतलब अब सपोज गन नहीं चली, सपोज द गन मिस फायर्ड, यू your aim fails, or simply that person moves. In all those cases, you have attempted because you have placed the situation beyond your control. And the thing is, things are not in your control anyway, and you have placed the thing beyond your control. So this is the first attribute of attempt. In attempt, if you have placed the thing beyond your control, it is 100% attempt. There is nothing to protect you from criminal liability. Then, if you have placed things completely beyond your control. Secondly, the second is called proximity rule. Now, in some of the cases, it is very difficult to actually ascertain that when the person has there is a possibility of coming back from the intention. The Parivartan rule is not very effective in some cases. In those cases, we apply proximity rule. Proximity rule simply means how close you are to committing the crime. That is what we call on the job rule. If I was suppose on the job, I was actually doing that act. I have not done the final act, but I was actually doing that act, and in that doing of that act, I was obstructed because of some reason. Police came. Suppose I was planting a bomb at a particular place, and I was that's so that bomb uh, blast those happens. But before I can finally put together the one and execute the timer, police grabs me and nabs me. Now the question is whether I'll be held liable or not. Now I cannot say that uh, I might not have actually pulled the trigger, or I might not have actually pushed the button to activate the bomb. All those things will not be relevant because I was so close to committing of the particular offense that it will be considered as an attempt. There is a famous case, Maqbool Mubarak Ali, I believe that's the case of the name. Very famous case in which what happens? There is a person who was smuggling some silver out of India. So in Mumbai, at a particular at the sea beach, they were loading at a secluded beach. They were loading silver in speedboats, है ना? And while they were loading that speedboat, immediately the coast guards came and they caught them while they were loading the boats. Now they tried to argue कि नहीं सर, हो सकता है हम सिल्वर को घुमाने समुद्र घुमाने ले जा रहे हो और स्मगल करने का हमारा इंटेंट ना हो. कोर्ट ने कहा ये सब फालतू बातें हैं भाई. ऐसा है कि you were actually loading the boat with silver the time the coast guard and the police stopped you. So if the police stopped you while you were on the job, then you will be held liable. Okay, you were on the job means you were about to commit that act, and if not stopped, you were so close that you would have committed that act. अगर आपको पुलिस उसी समय रोकती नहीं तो आप वो एक्ट कर चुके होते. Obviously, police cannot wait you to commit that act. Police will stop you whenever they can. So if the police stopped you while you were committing that act, while you were in the process, you have done something towards the commission of that act. अगर आप स्पीड बोट रखे होते एक जगह पे और आपके गोडाउन में आपने सिल्वर रखा होता, एक्चुअली आप सिल्वर लेकर के बोट के पास आपने लोड करना स्टार्ट ना किया होता, तो आप कह सकते थे कि सर there was a possibility of change of heart. But if you're on the job, if you're actually pursuing the person with a gun and you were stopped by some people, and suppose a leader or a politician is giving speech and a person pulls the gun and he's about to fire and suddenly is caught. Now that person will be held liable for attempt, because if that person would not have been stopped, he was so close to committing of that offense that he would have been successful if not stopped. है ना, तो वही बात लगती है proximity rule. And third, and a very interesting rule, is called equivocal test. Now it is in line with the initial observations that we made, that preparation has generally an innocent explanation. Equivocal test also says that if the act of the person is of such a nature that it unequivocally, there is no confusion about what he was trying to do, means his intention become absolutely clear of that committing that offense, and there is absolutely no innocent explanation whatsoever. In that case, it will be considered that he has attempted to commit an offense. In order to call an offense attempt, it is absolutely necessary. Equivocal test says this. It is absolutely necessary for the police to prove that सर जो इसने किया है उससे बिल्कुल स्पष्ट है कि ये करने क्या जा रहा था. There is no other explanation to it. There is no other hypothesis to it. There is no other possibility. But rather, he was trying to commit an offense. Like there is a person, here in the Mishra, there is a case in which a person actually um, submitted a fake degree certificate, BA. He submitted a bachelor certificate which was fake in order to get admission in the masters. And when he submitted the answer sheet, he was given an exam, and before the result was notified, and he would have been offered a seat, it was caught by the university. University got to know that this BA, the bachelor certificate he submitted in order to get the admission, is fake. Now, obviously, when he submitted as the forged certificate, it clearly showed his intention that he wanted to cheat and defraud the university. There is no innocent explanation to it, that why else, if you were not in, if you never intended to take admission in that university, why you will forge a bachelor certificate and submit it to the university? Is there any explanation to it? Is there an innocent explanation to it? Whether is there any ambiguity in the intent of the accused? The answer is no. Accused का intention बिल्कुल है ना आईने की तरह साफ है. That is what we call equivocal test. So these three rules are very important. First rule is कि अगर उसके पास बहुत सारा समय है जिसमें कि वो अपना मन बदल सकता है, if the ultimate act, the commission and the preparation are completely separate, in the sense that there is a plenty of time and space to actually that for that person to have a change of heart, then the person will not be liable. Then, but if he is so much proximate, so much close, if he is simply on the job, in that case, the person will be punished for attempt. And while we are punishing for that person for that attempt, we must clearly establish that whatever act he has done, whatever act we are claiming that he has done, it clearly establishes that person's intention to commit the offense. If it has any other explanation, if there is a 100th hypothesis and one innocent hypothesis, that person will not be punished. But if all the possibilities point towards simple result that this person was about to commit this crime, in that case, the charge of attempt will be proved that against that person, and that person will be held liable. Attempt अगर unsuccessful हो गया तभी attempt की बात कर, successful हो गया तो it is commission, simply liability is there in 100% of the cases. But in attempt, liability is lesser, obviously, and the prosecution will have to prove the attempt. And while proving the attempt, they will have to establish that Number one, there was no possibility of change of heart. Number two, that person was very close to committing that actually offense. And third, there is no innocent explanation as to whatever he was doing, as his intent is completely clear from his action that he was actually committing a crime. मतलब ना आपको चाकू लिया है तो सब्जी भी काट सकते हैं, मर्डर भी कर सकते हैं. जब ये बिल्कुल क्लियर हो जाएगा कि वो जैसे कि उसने बिल्कुल चाकू लिया, अंधेरे में एक के घर में घुसा, and he was about to stab, and the person who was sleeping wakes and catches that person's hand. अब आप वहाँ पे नहीं कह सकते कि सर मैं सब्जी काटने आया था इस चाकू से। अब उस चाकू से आप मर्डर करने ही आए थे। सब्जी काटने वाला चाकू लेके कोई किसी के घर में नहीं घुसता और उसको ऐसा उसके बिल्कुल है ना चेस्ट पे छाती पे चला नहीं रहता ऐसा चाकू लेकर के ना. देन द इनोसेंट एक्सप्लेनेशन आइडिया गोज डाउन द ड्रेन. ना आपके पास चाकू है तो आप उससे अमरूद काटे या किसी का गला काटे हैं. This will have to be proved by your conduct. And if the conduct is such that gives a clear intent that you are actually trying to kill someone, in that case, liability will be there. So that is the difference between preparation and attempt. Okay. So I hope particular stages of crime topic you have understood, you have got some idea. For details, if you want any guidance, please feel free to reach me at animesh@mprenu.ac.in. Next, we'll learn joint liability. And I hope if you are following me all over this course, I'll also appreciate anything you want me to add. If you want me to add cases or whatever the case may be, I generally don't add cases because that is additional information that will not be relevant for CLAT. Principles are relevant for CLAT because they sometimes ask in the CLAT examination, sometimes question is asked in which conceptual clarity or familiarity with legal jargon is essential. But generally, I don't ask cases. But obviously, if the feedback comes, if many of you agree, then I will definitely try to tweak it to your understanding. Okay. So please reach me at this email ID. I'll be very happy to help. Next, we'll learn joint liability, which is again very interesting concept. So I hope you found this particular lecture helpful. If you have any further doubt, please reach me. Thank you so much. This was Dr. Animesh on behalf of CLAT Sathi.